in the get out is going on here? So I saw this on X, y'all, and I had to share this with y'all. So this couple, this interracial couple, went on a date, right? Now this dude posted this on Facebook originally and it went viral. He said, "This is why I don't usually date outside my race." If y'all have never seen the movie Get Out, you better go watch it. So basically he went out with this girl. They went on a date. That was the picture of them. And then she texted him saying, "I definitely enjoyed our night out, but I don't think my parents can find out about us. ... He said, "Same here, and why?" And she said, "They despise black guys. My last black boyfriend, let's just say it didn't go well. They literally set him up to be put in jail for life for something he didn't even do. Google Wellington. I really like you, but I don't want anything to happen to you." Not giving his government name. And then he replied and said, "I like you too, and yeah, that's crazy. I went to school with him. Maybe if you sat down and had a conversation with them, they'll loosen up. Think they would be down for dinner?" And she said, "I'll ask, LOL, because I really like you, and I will not lose you." And then he said, "I don't want to lose you either." And then she basically said that her mom and stepdad would be open to meeting that evening. So I guess he meets the parents. He takes a screenshot of the dinner and shows receipts of the meeting. This is so creepy. So he took her phone and saw a message. This is so creepy, y'all. Saying this. He said, it says basically that was her talking to her mom. "Mommy love." He seems well put together, but it's something about him me and Jeff don't approve of. He seems like he would be good around the house for things we need, but not for a relationship. Tried to convince him to start working for us, and once we take a trip to the mountains this summer, well, know the rest. Well, you know the rest. What? And then she said, "Mom, I really like him. Can I at least keep him? He's very sweet." What? And then she said, "Not at all. Dating a black guy in the South, especially Mississippi, is not recommended. Do as you're instructed, please. You'll find someone better." And then she says, "Okay, I'll let him know that Jeff is hiring for work around the house." And like, what? He then posted this post on FB saying, "So this is why I stopped dating outside my race. Would be good and set up. And to this day, she still don't know that I saw those messages in her phone because I left afterwards and never said nothing else about it. Be careful out here, especially in Mississippi." Y'all better be safe. This is crazy. This is literally insane that this is a true.
I always disliked interracial anything. I am not a fan of interracial unions. No, and there's a guy who breaks it up with the psyche of, it's not even talking about interracial things. Like, this man literally just breaks down like what's wrong with actual white people's brain and what actually went, like, really. Let me show you the video, right? And I think it fits perfectly with this what's going on here.
We're going to talk about whiteness in a way that I haven't heard it in a lot of other places, but this is what went wrong. Like, if you ever wanted to know what went wrong, like, this is what went wrong. Like, what? Like, you ever looked at them and, wondered how they all made these crazy decisions? This is how it happened. Okay? Like, the betrayal was against memory itself. So it didn't start with slavery or colonization. Those were actually symptoms of a greater issue. It began when white identity was constructed by erasing rootedness. European tribes like the Irish, the Scots, the Germans, the Norse, they did have indigenous ways of living, right? Of being. Seasonal living, oral storytelling, grief rituals, communal economies. When empire logic, Rome, Catholic Church, feudalism, consolidated power in Europe, it forced those people to forget their rootedness and to replace memory with domination. The root was severed, survival through control. They didn't metabolize anything, not connection, right? Just control again. This was the first recursion. This is when they turned in on themselves, right? The first rise of this unprocessed entropy inside whiteness. It's rootless survival. It's identity by domination. It's memory replaced by mythic supremacy. And then that's how you end up with expansion without metabolization. So when Europeans came to the New World, they didn't arrive whole, right? They arrived already severed, already looping. They didn't integrate the grief of losing old Europe. They exported it. They didn't mourn their exile from memory. They externalized it on the people they colonized. Conquest wasn't just greed, it was spiritual panic. Because if you're not rooted in memory, you only feel alive by expanding your domination, by making more land, more wealth, more slaves, more laws, more mirrors, and thus their entropy, their unprocessed experiences exploded. But it was coded as civilization. So when American identity was built, it wasn't metabolized selfhood. It was built on dumping these unprocessed experiences, these entropy onto others. So indigenous people got labeled uncivilized to offload their own severed ancestral memory. Right? Black people were property to offload their terror of being spiritually homeless because they felt spiritually homeless. Immigrants were treated like threats to offload their fear of being spiritually replaceable. Projection became policy. Projection became culture. Projection became destiny. America never healed from Europe. It just renamed its wounds. So every genocide, right? Every stolen plantation, every gentrified city, every new suburb, every Wall Street boom, every school built on erasure, every church built without confession is material success reinforced. It is material success reinforced spiritual entropy. It is material success reinforcing, right, spiritual unprocessed experiences for them. So the more whiteness succeeded externally, the more it hollowed out internally. So their collective brokenness rose because every reward for survival was tied to a denial of memory, right? The maw grew, the silence deepened, the performance sharpened. So here's just the facts, right? It was really a bit of a four-stage process. Severance from ancestral rootedness, loss of metabolized memory, survival through domination, entropy weaponizes progress, projection onto others, externalization of internal panic, and reinforcement through wealth. So that it looped, got hardened in the culture. So white America's original sin is not slavery. It's the refusal to mourn the first loss of rootedness. So this is all just a disgusting projection. It's really this humiliating. Like I want people to sit with that. Like we're watching them grieve in public. All of this is grief. All of it. Rape, slavery, genocide, imperialism. Those were the fevered dreams of a people trying not to remember what it felt like to be abandoned by their own history. So every time memory tried to return, they doubled the performance instead of softening. This is why black people look so nasty to them. Because if we can build a culture, even in the midst of that, of exile, it makes all of this grief look meaningless. It has to be destroyed in that way. Right? So they have no home. You ask a black person where it all starts from, you might say you might get answers like slavery in Africa. You ask a white person, you'll hear Europe. Okay. But you hear exactly the same. Africa, Europe, they're as disconnected, if not worse. and they've been materially rewarded for it through this reinforcement. So this was a crazy deep take, but this is exactly what's going on.
Top of that informative piece is that even when you fall in love with people like them, the chances are that they see you as a tool for what you can do for them, either through recreational purposes, through them trying to enforce certain beliefs onto you. But it's only a few times that they would genuinely like you for you as a person. So I'm really cautious, like really, really cautious. Really cautious.